basically post-secondary. So once you're done high school, we're usually stuck at that point to see what we're going to do next, right? So sometimes we don't know, okay, should we go into university, or should we go and just start some kind of job full-time, or what should we do? So a lot of times we get stuck at this point to figure out like what should we do next. So kind of today I'm just going to be talking about some ideas and how you can kind of find your path when you're done high school, or like it doesn't have to be if you're done high school, even when you're in your career, just after that, right? So next. So I'm just going to start a little bit about me. So most of you already know me. So first is like my own journey is that I was I did the traditional route of just going straight to school right after high school. I did engineering because I really like math and chemistry, and I didn't really think about what my goals were long term, anything. I was just like, okay, just like everyone else, I'm just going to go to school, get my degree, and then we'll figure out everything after, right? And then but when I came back, and it was almost like a year, and I hadn't found any job that was related to engineering, because I realized that I hadn't done a lot of work while I was doing it. I was just focused on getting my degree, and just, that's it. And so then what I started doing is I got involved with Xperia Financial, like in the financial industry. I started working, and because I had time, so I was like, might as well just work here. And I learned a lot. And I finally did get an engineering position, but I only lasted about a month or two, because I'm like, now I'm going to spend 40 hours doing all this when I already saw so much potential that I can, if I put 40 hours on my own self, 40 hours bettering myself, 40 hours just speaking to people, getting to know as many people as I can, like that would be, I can get to much higher potential, right, than just working for somebody and just doing that. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me. So we can go next. So now we're just going to talk about like the two types of schooling. So we all know about like traditional schooling. So traditional schooling is where we go to get like a degree, so we go to college or we go to university, and a lot of these times it has a lot of benefits as well. So for example, you get accreditation, right? So like you have these credentials that you can show to people that, oh, I have this, right? And you get more qualified, personal growth, time management, right? So when you have like multiple assignments, multiple deadlines, you have to like manage your time. So there's a lot of skills that you do learn when you're in traditional school, university, college. And next. So just a little bit more about that. So funding your education, right? So when we go to school, there's so many, it can be quite costly. So like, for example, we can have like, our costs can be quite high for our education. So these are just going to be a few tips or tricks that you can do. So first one is student loans and grants. So if you know where you can get student loans for schooling, and these are come at 0% interest, so there's no interest on these as well. And on top of that, you can get grants. So when you apply for student loans, you automatically also get grants, which is like free money from the government. And then part-time income. So sometimes we like postpone our career till after we graduate. We're like, okay, we're just gonna work afterwards. And but what you can do is you can start something, right? So it could be a small business. It could be just working somewhere and investing your savings, something, right? So that when you're about to graduate, you're not just starting from like square one. After that, parent support. Parent support is really crucial when we're just starting off, right? Because we might not have a lot of money, we don't have a lot of savings. So living at home is a very good way to save money and save expenses. Also, using your parents may have an RESP account for you as well. So using that wisely, and even like instead of using that, use your student loan first, right? Because that has 0% interest. So use that first. And then if you have extra money, don't use it and just invest that money or save it, right? Until like you need it. And the last one is scholarships and internships. So there's about 500 million that's available to Canadians here, or like students in Canada, it's not just Canadians. So students in Canada, there's so many scholarships, so many things that are available, but sometimes we just don't look around, right? So like one example is that we can be very specific to our goals. So it can be, I don't know, Punjabi moment in engineering, right? Like if it's something very specific scholarship, you can get like it's less competitive, right? Because sometimes people don't apply for scholarships because they're like it's gonna be very competitive. So, and then paid internships. So for example, when I was in university, I got to do like a 3-month internship in Germany that was paid like for school and everything by the school. So there's so many opportunities like that you can do in school as well. So yeah, it's just like trying to be out there, look around, see what's there, right? So keep your mind kind of open. And next. After that, there's also outside of school learning, right? So outside of school, there's so many other skills that we learn that we are not taught when we're in our traditional schooling, right? So I'm gonna have Jasleen Kaur, she's also a part of our team, and she's a young entrepreneur as well. So she didn't just take like the traditional route, like she started her own detailing business and kind of she's trying out a lot of things and seeing kind of how it's gonna work and all that, right? So she'll just share a little bit about some of the skills that she's learning or that she's wanting to learn as well.
Hi, my name is Jasleen, and I'm going to be talking about outside of school learning, because just as important traditional schooling is, outside school learning is basically more important in my eyes, but in your eyes it might be like mid right now, right? So basically the number one thing to being successful in life is building your personal brand. A lot of people don't understand that. Like how Eranjit said, she went to school, she didn't really focus on maybe volunteering or getting some sort of job to kind of help her in the engineering route. So that's why when she graduated, she had that struggle of finding a job right away or whatever it might be. So the younger you're able to start on building a personal brand, the easier it will be for you in the future, like having people that trust you when it comes to your work or whatever it might be. So my own example is like, because I do detailing, I'm pretty involved in the community and I have like a good client base. So if I was able to start a different job, like be in the financial industry, I already have like a name built for myself. So all of those clients will trust me with this work as well. Another example of like local people could be like someone like Jaminat from Surrey. So he chose the way of outside of school learning as well, and he basically just kind of believed in himself and just kind of portrayed his own personality online, and because of that, a lot of new singers are trusting him with their work and building their brand off of his name in a way, right? So another thing is making good connections, because a lot of us will think that, okay, yeah, we have like one good friend group and that's enough for us to be successful. But when it comes to any sort of business, any sort of job, from what I've learned is like your main friend group is not gonna be the ones that entirely support your business. They will show up for you or whatever, but when it comes to actually making a dollar or whatever, those aren't the people that are going to be there entirely. So it's better that you go out and make like other connections, other groups of friends, and just kind of try to stay in touch with everyone, because the more people you talk to, like it comes back to the trusting again, right? They're going to trust you, so then you can kind of like give them ideas of like, you know what, I'm doing this, and this, like you guys can also get involved with me and work in this industry or whatever it may be, right? And then an advantage that we have right now is being resourceful. So if we rewind like maybe 10, 15, 20 years, a lot of like people, they didn't have like the opportunity of using the internet, using social media, or just putting themselves out there more. Whereas like our generation has the advantage of like where we can teach ourselves, or where we can kind of search up anything online and get all the information that we need right away. Or like if we need to call someone, they're only like a couple numbers away, like just a phone call away, right? Before it was like, it was a struggle to get in touch with people, right? And just try to figure out what you want to do. But right now, that's our main advantage, is we're able to use social media to kind of get out there and contact more people. And then a big one is organizing your priorities. because outside of school learning, as important as it is, it's also very easy to get distracted. So someone like me, like when I take time off school, I focus on my work, but then I tend to like say that, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this and this, but like it takes forever for the time to come, right? So it's better that you organize your priorities and be like, okay, so this thing should be at the top, right? I'm gonna be able to cut down everything else that I'm doing to kind of prioritize that one thing that's gonna possibly give me the biggest advantage. And then the last thing is gonna be financial education. So in traditional schooling, we're taught a lot, right? Like, but the main thing that they don't kind of go over, no matter even if you do accounting classes, stats classes, because I've done all of those, is they won't teach you like things that you can do with your money, right? Like, where can I put my money and get a good amount of interest, right? Like, how am I going to take out a loan? How am I going to get a mortgage? What do I need to do to get into that position? Like, how can I be successful? Because the number one issue in our economy is a lot of people aren't able to afford a house anymore, right? For our generation, it's almost impossible. Like, how are we going to save money for a down payment, right? So we're not taught any of this in school. So that's why outside of school learning is also very important, and stuff like financial education, like you learn more about this when you're making connections and stuff, but I'm gonna hand it back to Erin-G and she's gonna elaborate on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Next slide. So before we move on, so one thing that Jasleen mentioned was financial education. So a lot of times there's not much that's taught to us in school. So sometimes there's students that have graduated and they might not even know how to use a credit card or something, like it's very simple things like that, right? So, but before we do that, just a question for everyone. So what if we started reverse engineering our goals? So what this means is, let's say, so sometimes when we go to school, like the example I gave for myself, like I went to school and I didn't really have a goal in mind. It was just, let's just see how it goes. And that's how most people, I would say, go to school as well. But how about if we thought in a different way? How about if we thought that, okay, my goal is that I want to retire when I'm 40. I don't want to work after I'm 40. I want to have enough money that I can just do things that I'm more passionate about or do other charity work or something, right? So maybe that's our goal. So then we should ask ourselves, okay, how much money do I need? If I want to retire at 40, how much money do I need in my bank account that I can retire and I can live off my savings? And then next question you can ask yourself is, how am I going to get there? How am I going to make that money? What do I need to do to make that money? So how about if we started thinking like that? And then that way, now we know, okay, this is how much money I need to make. Now I'm going to see what I can do. So that could be starting a business, it could be going to school, getting more skills, and going in that kind of direction, right? So